Hey gang, what we have today on a bench is a very rare Sony TN9 monoblock power amp. And I kind of feel bad to call this just a power amp. It should also be called like a high precision lab instrument, considering its spec sheet and actual bench performance, which I'm not going to share with you right now. We'll do that at a later time. This will be a teaser video, more or less like a preamble. This is not going to be a teardown and restoration. We'll do that at a later time, and we obviously have to do two of these because they're monoblocks. But this unit right here, it's a 50-year-old amplifier in original condition, 50-year-old technology and 50-year-old condition. Those caps, those relays, even a lot of the dust inside, it's 50 years old. So the reason for the video, I just want to do a click down on one of the specs on this for this amp, which is the frequency response, which is rated at between being less than a 1 dB drop between DC and 300 kilohertz, which is quite impressive by any standards for any amplifier ever made. I'm sure there are other amplifiers out there that probably tap that, but this amplifier is very special for many other reasons. So first of all, there are very few of these made, and they are part of what I would say a cost no object experimental project that Sony put together in the 70s to more or less test their engineering capabilities. And this is the benchmark for the later very successful Sony ES series. So whatever they learned in this project, they took it forward into the rest of the series. And so you could say this is the granddaddy of the ES series. However, none of the amps that follow had this cutting edge performance and in some ways technology. They're tamed down version of this, including even we could probably say this almost applies the same for the mighty TA-N9, which is a beast, which also uses 5 pairs of custom MOSFETs just like this one. Except there the Sony went for a conventional power supply versus this pulse locked power supply, which is essentially the granddaddy of what we know today as the switch mode power supply. This thing is a beast. So some other amps that they build later, like the TA-N900, uses a pulse lock power supply, the radiators and some of these MOSFETs, but it's Mickey Mouse size comparing to this in terms of performance and build, etc. So it's everything else post this amp through this ES series. It's a what I would call a dumbed down version. And from performance perspective, this is an 80 or 85 or I think a 90. I forgot. They have it here as clipping at 100 watts in Class A and 500 in Class B, but I think it's rated at 80 or something in Class A and maybe 450 in Class B. Right now it's in Class A. So the short of it is we're going to test this amp for frequency response. I can't really use my Rode & Schwartz trusty audio analyzer in here because it taps out at 250K, and actually the oscillator taps out at 180. So we're going to use the scope with a frequency response analysis, and I set my sweep between, let me make this, I set my sweep between 20 and 30 and 300K, 20 hertz and 300K. Again, as I mentioned, the oldest caps are old. I don't want to push my lock. The amp will be pushing 1 watt into 8 ohm load. And if you hear any fan in here, there's not a fan in here in this amp. The fan in this amp, it's absolutely state of the art. It's actually, I'm going to make a section in the rebuild video just around that fan for how quiet it can be. What you're probably hearing is the stupid Keysight fan instead of my multimeter there, which it's quite noisy. I'm not sure why, but it is noisy. So it's way noisier than anything else in my lab. Yeah, so we're gonna run this sweep right now, and we're going to look at this together, and we're going to see if Sony's full of smack when they're saying they have less than 1 dB drop from 0 to from DC to 300. In our case, 20 hertz to 300 kilohertz. So far, so good. As I mentioned, we are pushing about 1 watt if you do the math there into 8 ohm. And what we're seeing there, the blue line, is our frequency response. The phase is on top, and we're seeing already that it's starting to drop at about 100, and that's a little weird thing there. The scale switched on us. What you're looking at, each line, each horizontal line is 0.1 of a dB. So let's do a little bit of the math. Let's move our math cursors to this end. Let's move this once at this end. And now let's look over here. So we're starting at 11.6 dB gain and ending up at 11.23 dB gain. That's 0.42 dBs. That's impressive. That's impressive for any amplifier. Again, not unique, but very, very, very rare. But to be fair, I'll let you guys know in a little secret. Not all these TA-N9s can do that, what you just saw. They all have extremely low total harmonic distortion, which is, I think, below 105 dBs, which is sick. Like, there's just no distortion on these things almost. But in terms of frequency response, the difference is with this amp. This is one of the earlier ones. I'm privileged enough to have worked and be able to learn from different series. I mean, the same TA-N9, but latest serial numbers versus earlier serial numbers. And I know that Sony in the latest serial numbers have tamed down the frequency response on some of these TA-N9s, potentially for stability reasons. Obviously, this right now, it's 50 years old and it works, and we are able to stress it to 300 kilohertz, and it hasn't crapped up. And I've tested quite intense for the past few hours, so I'm confident it's a repeatable test. So with that said, Sony engineers had good reasons. Potentially, they may have had something that they learned along the way, so they modified this unit. So some of them will not give you the 0 to 300 away. But rest assured, those things are starting to taper down probably at 80K, which is more than enough for, like, the sound signature is not affected in any way. The reliability is, because this can potentially run into oscillation or whatever if used improperly, or that the mechanisms that they put in place in the other amps would be a little bit more resilient. So that's kind of a catch there that you should keep in mind if you're ever testing your amp and potentially like, oh, how did Atelier HiFi did get to the amp to test that way and mine doesn't work? Well, that's why. Anyhow, again, this was more like a, hey, here's a Sony TN9, and it's a fantastic amp, 50-year-old technology that was still, it's kicking ass even by today's standards. Kind of a video, very short. You guys should stay tuned for a full resto. I promise you, it's going to be quite good. We'll dive deep inside this phenomenal power supply, which is simply massive. This thing could provides so much current to the rails of this amp that never sags. It's like this thing could drive a sub 1 on loads. So it's a massive thing. We're gonna dive into how it's made and what's inside it. We're gonna talk about the circuit a little bit, some of the things about the fan, what its caps are, etc., etc., etc. I really like the industrial design look on this amp. Some people don't really like it. They like the fancy aluminum sculptures that we see today, but I find this classy almost like military look, almost like this looks almost like a PA amp, but it's got nothing to do with a PA amp other than the looks. But yeah, I love it. And if you hear one, you would love it too, because it just sounds absolutely insanely good. All right, hope you guys found value in the video. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here for a second. Don't forget to leave comments in the comment section. Later.